Hi, everyone. My name is Erica Ludwig. I'm an executive assistant to Sally Clausen and PR manager at Voice One. Today, we have a special treat for you. We are joined with Shelley Avellino and Angeli Fitch, professional voiceover actors and teachers at Voice One. And we have some questions that we are going to ask them, three questions about their upcoming classes. Shall we just jump right into it?
Do it. Jump right
Oh, come on. Let's get
Okay.
this. Let's get it going.
All right, love it. I love the enthusiasm. Okay, so it goes without saying that the more outreach a voiceover actor can do, the more job opportunities that will come their way. So, at what point in your careers did you begin to reap the benefits from expanding your outreach?
Oh, that's a good one. Do you want me to go first, Angeli?
Do
Shall
it.
I
Shelley.
shall I start it? Hi, everybody. This is a great video. I'm so glad Angeli is here. And I'm so glad Erica has decided to do this because it's always nice to speak to you guys first before we do this. Outreach is really important as a voice actor. I totally agree. And the more that you get out there, the more that you're visible, the more that you give to the community, it's also just as good as what you get back, right? So what you give is what you get. So for me, I think I went gangbusters, man. I went gangbusters in the first 1 to 2 years of my voiceover career, working on casting sites, marketing, direct, networking in person and online, making sure my SEO was up to scratch and everything was in line. I was like some crazy stalker person, right? So I think that's really important. In the first couple of years of your business, you need to be really in there. And consistency is by far the biggest thing I can give you in marketing. So for me, it took about, I would say by year 3, all those seeds that I started to sow through my outreach started to really grow. And I think that's really important, right? So for everybody, it's going to be different. For me, it was like my 3rd year, all those outreach efforts started to kind of manifest. But for somebody, it might be 5 years. For somebody, it might be 1.5 years. We really can't compare. But I think the biggest thing that I can say is that as long as you're consistent, you have a plan, and your patience. So the consistency to continually sow those seeds, right? But then to have the patience to wait for them to grow. Because sometimes those seeds won't grow for a year, maybe 2 even, right? So, if you're wanting things to happen overnight, this is a marathon, not a sprint. We all know that. We've heard it a million times. But it's so true, and especially on the outreach side, and trying different things all the time. But you have to do something every day, every week, every month. Because if you don't feed that pipe, it's like a pipe, right? If you don't feed that pipe, nothing's going to come out the other end, right? So you have to continually feed it. So yeah, about year 3, I think, was when mine kind of started went, ooh, hello, all that work starting to manifest now. And I started kind of reaping the benefits from then on.
Nice. Thank you. And Angeli, what about you?
Well, can I just say first, I'm a fangirl of Shelley's.
Oh,
So, Shelley, you've been a voice actor for how many years?
Oh my gosh, 11 years.
11. So I've been a voice actor for 5. But I remember, Shelley, I'm trying to think it was Las Vegas or it was VO Atlanta or whatever the case is. A lot of what I learned, Shelley, I took your class.
You did.
Yes, I did. I think.
Did.
Yes, and you were absolutely amazing. And
Thank you.
The reason why I bring that up is because the thing that I learned from Shelley, and I sort of knew this just from having my own business as a lawyer, is that with outreach and networking, it's the quality. Remember, Shelley? I remember, Shelley, when I was in your class, I raised my hand and I was asking you about the networking, and you were saying it's about quality and that you actually don't, first of all, you don't spam people and you don't do mass email stuff because I don't either.
Yeah,
so I would say that it's absolutely the quality and do the research on the people that you're networking to. Now, what I did was I took 2 years of all the classes at Voice One. And then, I got scared because my demo sounded a hell of a lot better than I really was in real life. So, you know how that can happen, right?
It does. It does happen.
And then when I listened to it, I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And, how am I going to do this? So for 9 months, and it was during those 9 months that I took Shelley's class and I, learned how to edit and everything. But for that concentrated amount of time, I really strategized and really thought about who am I going to network with? How am I going to enter the voiceover? Where am I going to enter in? What am I going to do for money? Because I mean, I wasn't just going to be doing this for fun. This was not a hobby for me. If I'm going from lawyer to a hobby, that's, my husband's going to divorce me, first of all. So I took it very, very seriously. And also by the time that I got into it, because Shelley, I mean, I think that when you first started, you were probably, like one of the pioneers and one of the first people to actually like start teaching other people. But by the time I got into voiceover 5 years ago, there were tons of resources.
There was a lot, yeah.
A lot of resources, but then there's good resources and then there's kind of bad resources. So anyway, going back to question number 1, because I know that there's 3 questions, because I could be talking forever. I would say that I would advise somebody to network as soon as possible, but be mindful and purposeful as to who are you going to target. Now, what I did was I hit up all the lawyers I knew. It's like, you know what, personal injury lawyer, I'm going to do your voicemail, whether you like it or not. Okay. So I started, I wanted to get experience, but so my outreach was very targeted and thoughtful and strategic. So anyway.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
But I'm a fangirl of Shelley's, and so is my husband.
I'm a fan of you too.
I wouldn't want to put it on the record.
Your business strategy is like just beyond amazing. So
I learned from the best.
You both are amazing. I'm a fangirl of you both. And those tips are really helpful. So just really doing the research and really laying that foundation out for yourself and being mindful and really just putting strategies and goals out for yourself as a starting point, laying that foundation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah. Can you talk about your upcoming classes, LinkedIn marketing for voiceover and booking international work, and how they'll help a voice actor expand their work?
Come on, Angeli, you can do that next one. Yeah, you do. You go first.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to do my star over here. Okay, so with LinkedIn, so here's the surprising thing with LinkedIn. So as a lawyer on LinkedIn, I had, I don't know, like 900 connections. I didn't really use it. But then I started really exploring LinkedIn as to the potential for voiceover work. And now I have almost 14,000 first connections. So, but I mean, it's
amazing.
So that's a lot, but I'm a big advocate. And when I teach in the class, it's not the number. I just happen to do a lot of, outreach. It's not the number, it's the quality of the connections that you have. But I personally targeted, instructional designers, because I do e-learning, video producers, and I get a lot. I would say that I get probably at least 80% of my business through LinkedIn. And wow. I never run out of people to contact. So that's my main thing. I actually don't even really email that much anymore because I have to keep up with the people that I made connections with. So I'm a big, big believer of LinkedIn because that's where my people are. I think with social media in general, if you're doing video games, you have to go find where are your people? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Twitter? Are they on TikTok? Most of my people, my corporate people are on LinkedIn. So
I love that.
Yeah. So, but Shelley, again, it goes back to the quality. I'm not just going to spam people, hi, hire me. No, I'm going to do research on them and I'm going to target them and go after them in a specific way. So that's all I'm going to say. What about you, Shelley, in international work?
Yeah, I work in exactly the same way as because that's what I teach. But the Book an International course is something that I kind of fell into by accident years and years and years ago. Maybe I think it was you at FAFCon? No, FAF Camp you were you, Angeli? I don't know. Maybe one of them. I was at a conference and somebody just said to me, "Oh, Shelley, you're international. I'm going to talk about international work. Just can you come in here and just talk for a minute?" I was just an attendee, right? So this was 7 years ago or something. And I kind of went in and and I just talked about what I did every day. And everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, it's amazing." So basically for me, I think it's really important to let other voice talent know that you can actually market and find work outside of the country that you're living in. A lot of VO talents are really great at marketing locally. They know their turf, they know that they're comfortable with that. But there's so much work around the globe that it's kind of crazy not to want to tap into that, right? So The class that I do will be kind of going through how I do that, the nitty-gritty of how I kind of find those clients. We'll talk about rates and usage and how I kind of navigate and deal with that, because that's a tough one, right? That's a real tough one. And then, also about the money side of things, of how do you get paid if you're working with international clients and being paid from abroad, and also the legal standpoint, right? Angeli, we talked about this, with contracts and things like that. Lots of businesses and countries do business in many, many different ways. And voiceover is no different. We're a business, right? We run our business in the same way as any other business. We're all entrepreneurs. So, I kind of go through all of that. So it's a really kind of mixed bag of stuff. I don't just cover like marketing. I cover kind of where you can find stuff and how you can search, and the ways that I make it personal. Like Angeli said, that's a really big thing of mine. I never use templates. So yeah, we'll be kind of going through all of that and hopefully expand your client base. That's the end result. What talent can get out of it is hopefully a way to extend their client base and make more moolah. That's what we want. Moolah.
US dollars, US dollars.
US dollars, moolah. The green stuff.
Although I love the
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the quality. And you're actually segueing perfectly into the third question. Because I would really, really, I think everyone listening to this would also like to get just like a quick sneak peek, if you're able, of your upcoming classes. Because you're providing so many juicy details already. Is there maybe like a tip or just anything, just a little sneak that you can give us?
You go, Shelley. You go.
Yeah.
Okay, like a little golden nugget. All right.
Yes.
So, drum roll. I should do that behind. Okay, so again, I talked a little bit about looking further afield and making things very personal and all of that. But here's a little tip. A lot of people will use Google to do their research. Google is your friend, guys, people, right? LinkedIn as well, Google, directories, all of those things. But for me, when I look for international work, I use international search engines. What? Right?
My mind is
epiphany time. So I'll give you tips and hints on how to find those search engines. There's 2 amazing websites that will teach you how to look at google.com.hk for Hong Kong clients. And, if you use international Google sites, search engines, rather than just google.com, you get different search results. And then you can go into even deeper and look at local search engines in the middle of Austria and get just Austria and Australian and German and all of those very local pages and results back that you wouldn't get on google.com. So there's a way to navigate that. And that's just giddy. Yeah, that's one little sneak peek tip.
Genius.
Tipperoonie.
Oh my God. Yeah. That is so awesome. That is so
Tipperoonie.
Awesome. You are so amazing, Shelley. Oh my gosh.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, but I sound like Barry White. I've got like conference voice because I was just at One Voice presenting. So my voice is like, oh, I don't always sound like this, I promise.
It's very sexy.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to do my sexy read first thing tomorrow morning. Yeah. Okay, that's me.
Well, I don't know if my tidbit's that magnificent.
Oh, come off it.
I would say, okay, so for LinkedIn, I don't do posts. So I don't do a lot of posts and articles and things like that. I'm into like Target. So I'm one to make a request to connect and I write a personal note. Of course, I do my research and I really read through that person's profile. But here's what I usually, somewhere in there, and this is something that's always worked for me, and Shelley, I know that you probably already know you do this, but whenever I put something like, let me be a resource for you, or would love to be a resource for you, just super cash, people really like that. Like, I'm not trying to ask you, hey, please hire me, go to my profile, you want me. It's more casual, like, hey, you know what? Love to be a resource for you. And sometimes I might just start like that. Hey, would love to be a resource for you. Hey, by the way, I saw your YouTube, your YouTube channel. I just subscribed.
That's it right there.
The second one. I have to do a second one to match Shelley's excellence. Here's a second one. I subscribed to your YouTube channel. What? Can you imagine like you're getting like this request from somebody who said that they've study your profile and they subscribe to your YouTube channel. Say what? So
How
anyway,
can I not write back and say,
I
well,
know.
thank you?
So it's just like little stuff like that, where it gets people's attention because, and guess what? And their YouTube channel has nothing to do with the voiceover. It has to do with maybe their cat or their dog or, just something that you acknowledge them as another human being or just, something else besides something else that has nothing to do with business.
And that's important because all you want to do is we need to start conversation. That's the first thing you do is start conversation to build that relationship. The rest will come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a brilliant tip. I love that.
You love that. You're just planting the seeds because like you were saying earlier, Shelley, sometimes you won't hear from the person for like what, 2 years, 3 years? And they somehow saved your information 3 years later, it's like, oh, I have this cybersecurity course that I'd like you to teach. It's like, oh my God. So anyway.
Love that. That's a great tip. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah, that is amazing. And I don't even it's not a little thing. Like, I think those things go such a long way. Those seemingly little acts or actions actually have such big results because they're meaningful. You took the time, even if it's just a minute, you took that minute that someone else didn't take.
I agree.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we end this conversation?
I'd just like to say thank you so much for getting us on here and for me to be able to catch up with my lovely friend Angeli and to chat to you, Erica. And I'm always so happy to be, imparting knowledge to anybody in the VO community. And I'm so glad that Voice One has me, given me the opportunity to do that. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. We'll have some fun.
And I want to say, exactly, Shelley. And I want to say thank you too, because Voice One is where I did I started with my training. I was still working, a lot as a lawyer, but I started taking classes at Voice One. And it's just, I never in a million years would have guessed that I'd be actually teaching at Voice One. I know it's like, why am I teaching this again? So, but it's my life has completely changed. I'm so happy. I love working from home. I love doing voiceover. I never would have imagined that this dream would have come true. So I'm extremely grateful. And I love the voiceover community.
I did. Awesome. I knew you were going to get there and do it. I did.
Shelley, you're a star.
Thank you.
You know what? Sometimes when we have like the Zoom calls or the live directed sessions and sometimes they want to see me, then I have to light myself up with my star.
I love that.
Well, because guess what? Okay, tip number 3, live directed sessions. That's another opportunity to show your personality so that they'll hire you again. So.
Yes. Exactly.
I love it. I could just keep speaking with you both all day. But this is where we say, okay, if you want to hear more from Shelley and Angeli, make sure you sign up for their classes, right? Yes, this is where we say that. Yeah. Thank you both so much for taking the time to speak with us. Incredibly grateful for you both. The advice that you shared, the tips, they're just wonderful. And again, okay, so your classes. So we have LinkedIn Marketing for VO with Angeli Fitch on Tuesday, August 16th. Mm-hmm. And International Work, Bridging the VO Gap with Shelley Avellino on Tuesday, August the 23rd.
Yes, be there, be square, people, of both classes.